Okay, we're looking at this video. Drafting Joshua Primo was actually genius. What? An actual video that's being positive about the Spurs. All right, let's turn this music off. We got to get into this.
12? No. With all of the people on the roster? What is
Oh, he doing call outs.
Oh, hell no!
It's been a while since I've been able to be proud of my Spurs. After 2014, the city of San Antonio has been anxious to experience more excitement. We've made some good picks along the way and some not so good ones. But last season was a great one. DeJounte became an all-star, Pop broke the win record, and of course, we drafted Joshua Primo, who I made a video about praising him and helped turn the narrative of him being a guard around. Now we arrive at this season, where I feel the most confident I've felt in our lineup since we held up that trophy it seems so very long ago. Like most fans, seeing all the big men in this draft got me excited, and I had eyes on Jalen Duren. At first, I was disappointed we didn't pick him, but I realized I went through the same thought process last year, picking Primo over the big Kai Jones, until I did my own research, and now Primo is one of my favorite players. So I decided to do the same thing and take a deep dive. Here's why the San Antonio Spurs stole the draft. First of all, shout out to Clan the Spurs fan who reacted to my Primo video originally, giving my channel a huge boost and had me on his channel a few times afterwards as well. But more importantly, Clan was on the Sohan train long before anyone else, it would seem. Clan was in love with this guy.
I love him. I love him already.
Sorry, Clan. If you're watching, you know I had to do it to you. Regardless, I want to give credit where credit is due and point out that Clan had noticed some of these things much sooner than I did, as I was mainly watching Chet, Banchero, and Jabari, despite them not being in the pick range for the Spurs.
Such a big part of their national championship team last year. He is out, Sohan. That is silky smooth from Jeremy Sohan.
In my previous video, I talked about how Paolo was drafted so high despite having minimal defense, because his offensive side of the court more than makes up for it and has a high ceiling. Sohan is practically the exact opposite. Many people were upset when we drafted Sohan after a glance at his offensive stats, and admittedly, they aren't great. However, his defensive ceiling is insane. While having his weaknesses listed as basically all parts of shooting, Sohan is able to read the play and make essential switches to get multiple defensive stops, averaging 0.7 blocks, 6.4 rebounds, and 1.3 steals with Baylor. This all boils down to one word that summarizes him, repeated in practically every scouting report, as well as repeated by, again, Clan the Spurs fan, and even the Spurs GM Brian Wright when explaining why he was drafted.
Versatility.
Versatility.
versatile?
I'm sure you've heard it before, but Sohan's versatility is one of his biggest assets. Sohan is able to guard all 5 positions on the floor, and as we mentioned before, able to switch and get defensive stops. This is what the Spurs need, like an amazing puzzle piece. The Spurs have seemingly been a quote-unquote boring team the last couple of seasons.
Yo, no cap, bro. The Spurs have been boring for so long. I don't think they'll ever, remove that. They could have been flashy this year for all we know, but because we just think, San Antonio when boring basketball, people will never watch DeJounte Murray, even though he's not even boring.
Yeah, he's definitely not. Last year, there was a early in the season stretch where they actually were a fun team to watch, but it just went away. I was going to be hot on Lonnie Walker. I ain't gonna lie. Lonnie Walker is going to be my next guy that, unfortunately, wasn't nearly as good as I thought he'd be. I thought Lonnie Walker was going to be it. Not superstar, but definitely perennial all-star. I don't know why. I just believed in him. But you're right. They've been boring for, ever.
The Spurs have been in the middle of the pack in several categories. To some, it's even more entertaining to watch the Pistons or Kings play, for the off chance that they might get a win after a stigma of losing. However, the Spurs are basically average in everything, ranking 16th and 17th in offense and defense. A loss or win doesn't really sway people one way or the other into watching them. Even in standings, the Spurs were able to make the play-in, but failed to go any further, being the pinnacle of average. Jeremy Sohan is able to add his defensive prowess to tip the scales of offense in the Spurs' favor. The Spurs have also been notorious for building off the back of defense. Despite now being in the middle of the pack, as we said, the championship caliber Spurs rosters were said to have some of the best defensive basketball ever played, and helped spark the phrase defense wins championships in the 2000s and 2010s. Even to this day, this same idea is shown with DeJounte Murray being the league steals leader this season. After our championships, we had hoped to continue this trend with another popular player that unfortunately didn't stick around, but Sohan is often compared to him. Believe it or not, rookie Kawhi Leonard is actually a perfect comparison to Sohan. When drafted, Kawhi Leonard was 6'7", 227 pounds as a small forward. Sohan is 6'8", 225 pounds, small forward. While Kawhi is a monster on offense now, he reportedly had the third worst field goal percentage of his draft class. However, he was drafted high based on his ability to rebound and defend in the combine, showing the same versatility that we now see in Sohan. However, even if Sohan helps with the defensive end of the floor, he isn't able to assist San Antonio in their offensive struggles. But not to worry, dear viewer, this is where the next pick comes in.
Liddell trying to bulldoze his way, finds Branham open for three in the corner. Another one. Branham is at a couple three.
Malachi Branham is great on offense. It was surprising to see him fall that low in the draft. He seems to be efficient on the wing and able to create on pick and rolls. He has a similar skill set to LW4, with whom the Spurs don't seem too adamant on re-signing, meaning Malachi would effectively replace him in the lineup. In the words of Clan the Spurs fan again, he's a quote-unquote mid-range specialist, and he is again most efficient with his pick and roll plays. Despite Podol being a below average center in my opinion, one asset that Podol has is his ability to be a brick wall, standing at 7'1", 230 pounds, which would help to create these pick and roll plays. Previously, I also would have loved and praised Drew Eubanks' ability to perform the pick and rolls and get screens, being a phenomenal brick wall as well. But now, he's playing in Portland. If the Spurs also managed to get DeAndre Ayton or another decent big, that would also help shape things up with Malachi's play as well. Despite having a decent 3-point percentage, Malachi does tend to be reluctant to take these shots, but that's an easy confidence issue that can be fixed under the San Antonio's development umbrella.
What he's doing. Wesley looking to drive all the way through, hung in the air. Difficult angle, but he made it.
Blake Wesley seems to be the most controversial opinion in this draft. Despite this draft being deep, with the Spurs having so many guards, many people see him going to the G League after being picked in the first round. Blake Wesley has a lot of both good and bad games. He doesn't have anything exceptional about him. However, he seems to be great at ball handling and one of the fastest on the court when he's playing, and is able to create good shots and looks for himself. So he will be a good piece along DeJounte as he develops, with scouts saying he will be to the Spurs what Tyler Hero is for the Heat. So obviously in this video I brought up DeJounte a couple of times. As I was editing this, DeJounte was traded, which obviously changes a few things. With DeJounte being gone, we are officially starting the rebuild, and I believe these are the perfect pieces to do it. A 3-point playmaker, a defensive powerhouse, a pick and roll machine, and a fast-paced hard worker determined to get better. In return, the Spurs have also got some picks to help with this rebuild. Obviously, we have no way of knowing right now what the pick is, but if the Spurs somehow manage to get Victor Wembanyama, that will be a huge asset that fits perfectly to every piece we now have, and I can't express that enough. Primo would have a big that he can dish out to in the paint if he gets contested on the 3, as well as having a mid-range shooter in Malachi should Victor also be tied up. Malachi would then also have another big to perform these pick and roll plays with that we mentioned before. And with Victor averaging about 2 blocks a game, he would be phenomenal alongside Sohan on the defensive end. One thing I haven't even mentioned yet is each of these guys have amazing motors and want to improve, which is excellent for their success in San Antonio. We've seen a few times what happens when people don't want to put in the work, like Luka's sandwich. They are also reportedly already actively experiencing the city of San Antonio and bonding with each other as teammates, which is great to see. Unfortunately, after writing the script for this video, it was reported that Sohan may miss out on the Summer League, but I'm still excited for these picks to show what they're capable of, and I do think that this is the start of something great, even if many can't see it yet. With that being said, I'll catch you on the next one.
This is not okay. This needs to stop now.